Are you contemplating running for president? Well, Brett Arends has some advice for you. Monumentally stupid is how he judged some of the recent financial moves of Mitt Romney. Brett, you're in Boston. That's Romney country. And you're going to say some dangerous things, perhaps, to the Romney camp. Yep. I think you might call him monumentally stupid. Why is Mitt Romney monumentally stupid?
Look, he's not the only offender. I think that I'm constantly amazed at how badly politicians handle their financial affairs, creating all sorts of completely needless, I mean, it's like their own goals. They're needless errors. They're unforced errors. You look at it and you go, why are you doing that? In the case of Romney, having money in a Swiss bank account, having money in trusts in the Cayman Islands, I mean, you look at it and go, why would you do that if you're running for president? He's a very wealthy man, and there's nothing wrong with being wealthy, and there's nothing wrong with being wealthy and running for president. But part of the game of politics, in fact, a lot of the game of politics, is about forming a connection with voters. Romney wants to appeal to, so let's say, an unemployed, a steel worker in Ohio who's been laid off, who's now working in a shift in Walmart. The guy, Romney wants these people to identify with him. They start seeing not only that he's rich, he's got the, a beach house in La Jolla with a car elevator, he's jet skiing on Lake Winnipesaukee, he's got money in the Cayman Islands. These are just things, if you're running for president, why would you do them? They don't make your job easier.
Well, but
they're not worth anything.
It sounds like in some ways you're criticizing him for being rich, which I don't think you're trying to do. But you are making the point, and this is in your column, Financial Advice for Presidential Candidates. You are making the point that he is creating a perception in his actual financial affairs. You mentioned the Cayman Islands, you mentioned hedge funds, blind trusts. Like, take us a little bit further beyond from the lifestyle and to how his financial affairs are run.
Yeah, look, I mean, the truth is, if you're running for president, you should put your financial affairs in a situation whereby you are like Caesar's wife. It's not enough to be innocent, you have to look innocent. We do this in journalism. We are heavily restricted in what we can own and what we can invest in, not because people think we're our editors think we're dishonest, but so that no one can ever raise a question about whether you've been honest or dishonest. Now, this is not just about Romney. These are people, Democrats and Republicans, congressmen, presidential candidates. They do these things, but if you are running for president, it's the highest stakes game there is. Why would you create any needless difficulties for yourself whatsoever?
And has Barack Obama done anything monumentally stupid?
Well, I mean, he has a lot less money, so there's much less focus on it. His money's also in a blind trust. I think when you're president, maybe that's inevitable. But, as I said, you can put your money in 3 Vanguard funds. You wouldn't need to have a blind trust. No one's ever going to criticize you for your money.
This, in fact, is your advice, Brett.
Yeah. It's, look,
can you tell us about what those 3 funds are?
Yeah. Well, this is not a conversation ender. It's just a conversation starter. If in doubt, you could put 60% of your money in Vanguard's Global Equity Fund. It's a stock fund. Tracks the whole world stock market, 20% in Vanguard inflation-protected bonds, 20% in Vanguard long-term treasury bonds. You rebalance once or twice a year. You know what? I defy you. I'm running for president. I'm a trillionaire. That's my portfolio. You're running against me. You're very left. You're Dennis Kucinich. I defy you to find something to criticize in that portfolio. Well, absolutely nothing.
Well, should you be contemplating a run, as I'm sure very few of our readers actually are, you should actually read Brett's column. It's in SmartMoney.com. There's some good advice, and probably some good advice for someone who's just a regular investor.